Hi everyone. Well, this time of year it's good to walk around and pick up some of these fallen silver birch twigs. I mean, they're really excellent for fire lighting. Now, I normally pick them off the forest floor, which, you know, some people might say, well, they're going to be wet and unusable. You can pick them from where they've caught up in trees. They're normally dry. It hasn't rained for a while, but what I normally do, if I'm picking them off the forest floor, I normally tie them together and then I hang them up somewhere, and it allows them to dry. But when we're collecting them like this, it gets a little bit, you know, we must be able to bundle them up together to store them, or even carry them. Makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to show you a really old woodsman's trick that really is really old, and it's called a withie. Now, I don't know whether that's an English term, an English woodsman's term, an old coppice term. I'm not sure where the name comes from. Now what it is, I describe it as a crude woodman's wire, and you'll see why in a minute. But these withies have been used for centuries for bundling up what I'm doing now for fire lighting, big bundles of wood if they want to carry it, and things like that. And you'll probably see as we go, you probably might think of other uses, and if you do, leave a comment down below. If you've seen this before, leave a comment down below. So, in order to make a withy, we need, in my case, we're going to use some hazel ones here, right? And these are alive. They're not dead ones that's been standing a while. Like this is broken. We want something that's nice and green. You can't really do this with a dead one. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put my bundle down and take my gloves off, and it'll be easier to show you. There's the bundle. Right, here we have then the green piece of hazel wand. Right, I've gone for a little fork, and it makes it easier to do this, and I'll show you what we've got to do. Right, in principle, what we've got to do, we've got to twist this until we start breaking up the fibres inside. They start popping, right? And at the moment, if you was to bend this round, it would probably just snap. So by twisting it like this and start breaking the fibres, it starts to turn it into a crude sort of wire. This is quite hard, and that's why I suggest if you go something with a little bit of a lever on it like that, it makes it a lot easier. So what we do then is we've got to start twisting it. And I don't know if you can hear that, but you can hear the fibres starting to pop. Just twisting it up. There is a point when this turns, and it can sort of turn into a handle like that. See how well that's twisted without breaking. Right, and all we do then is we can use that as a lever to turn that around like this. Now, I only need a small piece, so I'm going for a really thin bit here. This is this is probably half the size of my little finger, because only we need a small one. And if you need a bigger one, you could do one this size, but you've got to be quite strong or have a way of twisting it, because these are really hard to twist up. And again, only twist the green ones up, because we want it to be quite moisture and wet inside. Start twisting it like this. And so it's naturally gone into a little bundle there. Now I'm going to use that little bundle to help me twist. It's like a handle now. I'm just going to really twist that up. Okay, that's about as much as I need, but if you wanted to, you could go all the way down to the bottom. So all I'm doing there is going to get my knife and I'm just going to cut it off there. And what we do is we go back and then we break that up and turn it into usable withies. Knife away so we don't lose it. Okay. So here we have it. We have our withy here that we've just literally twisted up, and you can see that it's literally really pliable now, and we can use this, like I said earlier, on for all sorts of lashings. I mean, look at that. You could tie that around something if it was long enough, you know, make a smaller one there through the loop, tighten it up. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to cut these off because I don't need them. So get your trusty knife. Okay, and this one here, I'm just going to saw that one off. So it's about there that it stops being flexible. Making sure I don't saw them through my decking, do it in the middle there. Right, so we don't need that. So this is the bit that we need, obviously. So what then, as you can see, this is a very crude wire. You can tell there that that's not quite bent up enough, but you can sometimes, if you're lucky enough, just twist it round, get it going a bit. So here we have then a really suitable bit for tying our little bundles up. Now what I normally do is I try and break these open and start splitting them apart. If I wanted to and I was, you know, constructing maybe a shelter, I would either use the whole lot or I'd break it down like this and make it, you know, so I get a bit more out of it. It's almost like what we were doing on the last video. We were literally trying to get two halves out of one bit, but here again you can carry on just using your fingers, breaking it down. I probably want to go a bit smaller than that. Just be careful that it doesn't, like it did on the other video where it just breaks off like that, it wants to run off. So I'm trying to be quite selective here. See, that's not going to work. Just break that off there. Okay, so I've got this bit here, and you can see you can just tie it up, tie her off like that, so you can make little knots in it. Or but what I normally do is I get my bundle. I want two small bundles, I don't want one big bundle because I want to put it in my little stove. What I normally do is I literally put that across there, wrap that around, trying to trap that underneath, sort of have some sort of locking mechanism there. And I'm not too worried about, you know, tying them as such. All I'm going to do, because I'm going to be burning them, I'm just going to literally pop that under there. Like so, and that end's caught up and that end's tied up, and that's all we need to do to make a little bundle. And of course you can have these as big or as small as you like. So there's one. This one's a little bit smaller, a bit too small. So this is probably a bit too long, but I'll try and break her down. these are excellent for tying stick piles together if you want to carry stick piles. What normally happens is that when these dry, they dry quite solid, but they still remain sort of flexible, and if you want to make them really, you know, pliable again, you can just sort of put them in water so it soaks up a bit, because when these dry, these literally are like wire, they're just solid. I mean, in the olden days they used to collect bundles for the baker in London, and they used to literally put the withies round them and put them in big bundles, and then they used to ship them up on the back of carts. And then sometimes in the old days they used to return the withies so they could be reused. That's how good they were. So they really are a really good bushman's skill, should we say. So hopefully you've seen these before. But anyway, tell me what you thought. Like and subscribe. If you've got any comments, leave them below. I'm always pleased to hear or read comments that, or maybe you know something that I don't, or you know, anything like that. So anyway, if you like and subscribe. Adios amigos.